It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Thursday, June the 22nd. Good morning. That was the Clash, Rock the Casbah. I saw the Clash in 1985. It was not the four-piece original band. They'd had a lineup change. It was now a five-piece, and it wasn't quite like I was hoping for, but they still rocked the house. It was a great night, and I went to the Clash show, and I saw the Clash, and at the time they were known as the only band that matters, and I thought there was nothing cooler on earth, and I went home without incident. It was a great, great night. You know, you buy your ticket, you wait, you anticipate, you get to the gig, you buy the T-shirt, you see the show, you go home, you talk about it for years, in this case, almost 40 years, and you think back, it was awesome. I got everything I wanted out of my rock concert experience. That's not what happened last night just outside of Denver, Colorado, however. At Red Rocks, arguably the most famous outdoor amphitheater in America, or the world, really. It's right up there with all the great concert venues in the world, for good reason. There was a British pop performer named Louis Tomlinson. I call him Louis. Why not?
Yeah.
Louis sounds more fun. He was in One Direction. He's a very famous performing artist. He was at Red Rocks last night. He was performing. It started to rain, and then it started to hail, and then it started to hail some more, and then there was a literal hailstorm, and these are not pellet-sized hail nuggets. These were golf balls falling on us. Over 100 people were injured. 7 were hospitalized with hail as they fled. Like you know, I mean, you know, it's just a mind-boggling thing. You're at a concert, you've looked forward to it, you're having fun. It's the one place nothing's supposed to go wrong like this. But just imagine, think about the size of a golf ball, and this is not an exaggeration. Golf balls are falling from the heavens onto thousands of concert goers. We've got a little bit of audio, do we not, Zep?
We do.
That's not from Halloween 3.
It sounds like it, doesn't it? Oh, they're scurrying.
Whoa!
Oh, yeah.
Why weren't they wearing their concert helmets?
They're going to require that at Red Rocks now. Somebody's going to have to pass some legislation there in Colorado. We can't have this.
80 to 90 people treated on the scene. Again, 7 people hospitalized. The concert, of course, was canceled. The Red Rocks, their statements on social media: please seek shelter in your vehicle. Fun fact about Red Rocks: the parking lot is not
Right
near the entrances or the exits. They were running down a steep grade for a while to get to their cars. It's terrifying. There are people who are like, my whole my shoulders are bruised. I mean, this is wild. This is life in Colorado in the middle of the summer. The summer solstice, longest day of the year. What was it here yesterday? 90 degrees?
Yeah.
Over in Colorado, people are literally being pelted. What's the... So here's the question. Has anything like this ever happened for you at a concert? Not a hailstorm, but has anything really crazy or actually just darn right bad happened at a gig you were at? Either something of your own causation or something like this, like a weather situation. I've had gigs, postponed for weather that I was playing. The one thing that was really scary at a show I attended was I saw the B-52s in 1984 at Vanderbilt University's basketball gym. And it was like, there's 3 tiers, like upper deck and then the upper deck. And I was in the upper deck. And midway through the show, Fred Schneider of the B-52s, as only he could say, was, we've just got an announcement. Everybody in the top deck has to sit down. Because the section we were in was literally moving. And somebody looked up and was like, that whole balcony is going to collapse and there's going to be 1,000 people gone underneath. And he literally said, I am so sorry, but we have to ask everybody in that top level to sit for the rest of the show, which is not what anybody goes to a B-52s concert to do.
Right.
But but there was no everybody got out of there safely. Zep, ever have a thing happen at a gig you were attending like that?
I got thrown out of a ZZ Top show before it started by trying to just, climb into an area I wasn't supposed to be at. That happened to me at the Bagmen, when you were playing with the Jayhawks. at Grand Old Day, I tried to kind of cut through an area, and one of the Asia security guys, no.
Okay.
I'm like, okay. Almost got thrown out of that gig.
So not so much act of God, but an act of Zepp.
But I did miss quite a bit of the Grateful Dead with Joan Osborne way back in the 1990s out at Somerset. It's an outdoor amphitheater out there. When one of our friends got stuck in a porta potty, not even one of the porta potties inside the venue, so I could watch the show, but she was freaking out because she was stuck in a porta potty outside the gate, and we were trying to get her out. And then you do what you normally do with a porta potty. You start pulling on the door, and it started rocking a little bit. She's like, it's splashing in here.
Yeah, that qualifies as a natural emergency.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
And then the other time was the U2 show over here at TCF. Well, it was TCF Bank Stadium at the time. But it downpoured, but it turned into one of the greatest concerts I've ever been to. They came out, with Singing in the Rain and played the entire show. That's when they had that, octopus, crab claw kind of stage or whatever.
Yeah, that thing, it was incredible.
Yeah, it was just a great show because it rained the entire time, and they pulled it off. But
yeah, rain and hail, different animals to be sure.
I'm guessing you must have a concert disaster story or two.
There was the one thing that I'm just trying to think about, canceled gigs. There were moments where, just personally, food poisoning on stage. That counts as a natural disaster.
Oh yeah.
Literally playing a gig where I not one but two Imodiums just to be extra safe. In the Argentinian sun. Pretty brutal. We played a gig in Santa Cruz in 1998. I think Santa Cruz, California has the thing called the Mystery Spot. It's a tourist attraction. Visitors, there's an area of town where people say like gravity doesn't exist or it works backwards. There's this tilted house where balls roll uphill. It's just a bizarre, and there's like a polar magnetic force field. There's a thing there for real that just weirdness happens. Some people go to the Mystery Spot and they report like heart palpitations as soon as they get to a certain part of this area. Wow. We had a gig there, and right before we went on, and a couple of us had been to the Mystery Spot that day, the entire town had a blackout. And we were like, the Mystery Spot's coming back at doesn't want us to play. And we waited, and eventually we had to call the gig. We had to, it was like, we just got to leave. There's no power in the whole town.
No acoustic set?
And as we're on the bus and we're crossing a bridge, putting the town in the rear view, all the lights went back on. And we were like, creepy. It really was us. We triggered the Mystery Spot. We were not meant to play here today.
No.
But again, no injuries, no hailstorms, no hospitalizations. Tony, were you ever at a gig that was canceled or anything like that happened? Like, what's the worst concert experience you ever had?
No, mine was just pure yuck. We were all in a row at an Aerosmith, and somebody had been making their way across the row and decided to paint us all up with vomit.
Oh,
it was
like
this. It was like we were being sprayed, like you would spray a yard for bugs.
No.
And it was just horrifying. And we
also
had to
falls
stay
under
that way.
natural disaster.
Yes. And the guy was like, I'm so sorry.
Oh,
are you really?
God, that's absolutely mind-boggling.
It was ghastly, but understandable.
Okay, so today it is Thursday, June 22nd. At some point, we'll go into some submersible talk. I mean, that's what we have to do. It's the story of the universe right now. But worst concert experience ever? Sorry, man, that's just way more fun.
It's juicy, isn't it?
It's way better.
All right.
Throughout the day, I want to. Everyone always says, "What was your first concert? What was your best concert?" Screw that. What was the worst thing that ever happened to you at a concert?
Oh man,
what was your worst experience? Was it Kings of Leon? A pigeon crapped in my mouth bad? We'll tell that story later. On stage, a guy in the band opened his mouth to sing and just got a mouth load from a roosting pigeon overhead.
Oh my God.
Things happen bad to the artist. Sometimes it happens to the audience. You never know.
Oh, I love this topic. 651-989-ROCK. That's the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line. I suppose we got to get off to Evans, right? We don't have time for a caller quick. Concert caller?
Oh,
No.
if we got a quick one, what do you think,
How about
Candace?
a quickie?
John from Fridley.
John, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
What do you got for us, brother?
I had a story from my very first concert that I went to. It was in 1978. I went to go to St. Paul Civic Center to go see Alice Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this was a general admission show, so there was no seats on the main floor.
Okay.
Now, we're on me and my buddy Mike were down on the floor. We're kind of getting shuffled around because it was kind of like a mosh pit situation. I was getting moved 20 feet this way, 30 feet that way.
Right.
I'm not walking anywhere. I kind of got tired of that. So I decided, I said, Mike, hey, I'm going to go sit on the railing over there by the tunnel. Because they had rechargeable bleachers there. You were talking about how you were climbing on stuff. So I'm gonna go sit on the bleacher over here. So I'm watching the show, rocking out, having a great time, and all of a sudden he starts playing Schools Out. And it's like everybody just goes nuts.
Sure.
Halfway through the show, I see a canister coming from the upper deck, flying down, and it landed almost straight out in front of me. And the smoke goes up, the crowd goes wild, thinking it's all part of the show, and then the cloud hit. Oh my God, dude. That place cleared so fast.
Tear gas?
Was it tear gas?
Tear gas bomb.
Why? Who got? Was it like some rogue?
I don't know how the heck they got that in there, but it was quite scary sitting on that railing, and I'm looking 25 feet down below me. There's nothing. This is the entryway to the tunnel that goes to the parking ramp. And there's just a waterfall flow of people coming out of it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's awful.
Tear
That's-
gassed at a Cooper concert.
I was trying to
Jeez.
get in there. I crawled underneath and just sat there and waited for the crowd to disperse while I was watching people.
Yeah.
Here and there.
Yeah, listen, I'm sorry. Hey, I hate to be short. We got to bounce. I thank you for that call. I defy anyone to top that one.
Wow.
We started at Apex crazy concert experience for the morning, but we'll get back to that. It is time for the Mike Evans Hollywood Report. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning. Today is National Kissing Day.
Watch it. Let's go.
Yeah, go out there, have a little kiss for yourself.
Yes, sir. So should I listen to Destroyer or Love Gun?
Probably Love Gun.
Okay, makes sense.
Love Nugget is it true? Jennifer Gardner and John Miller, the CEO of the Cali Group, which, among other things, owns the worldwide Cali Burger restaurants, have been dating for 5 years, and friends say they are close to getting married. It would be a very quiet ceremony. They've been dating for 5 years, Jennifer Gardner and John Miller.
First I've ever heard of it. First I've ever heard of him, and yeah, she was pretty good in Alias. That's my comment.
There you go.
Thank you.
Money, cities, and homes. If you make $250,000 a year, which I never have, these are the 7 cities to avoid because your money will go less than any other cities. Of course, if you don't make that much, these cities are also cities you need to avoid because if the rich can't afford them, we can't afford them. Number 7, San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
Number 6, Washington, D.C.
Sure.
Number 5 is Long Beach, California.
Okay.
Number 4 is Los Angeles. Number 3, San Francisco. Number 2, Honolulu. And the most expensive city, of course, is New York. I don't know how I survived. I've lived in 4 of those cities. I don't know how I survived.
And you're an angler from way back, and
I
you're
do.
really good at it.
I trade more time. That's another story.
Yeah.
Is payola still around? I
You
don't
see
know.
around corners, Mike. We've all known that about you.
Yeah, there you go. Now the 3 celebrities who make a lot more than $250,000, and they own the 3 most expensive celebrity homes. Number 3, George Lucas, $125 million home.
That checks out.
Number 2, Bill Gates, $135 million home.
I don't think of him as a celeb, though.
Not
really.
really.
I mean, come
I don't
on.
know why I put him in there.
No, I mean he's famous. We see him in the tabloids occasionally, but I digress.
And number 1, well, it's easy. Jay-Z and Beyonce's new $201 million home.
Yeah. Well, God bless him.
I mean, do you really need $200 million home? I don't know.
Me? No, sir, not at all.
No. And now we know where the Las Vegas Athletics baseball stadium is being built.
Oh boy.
It's being built at 3801 Las Vegas Boulevard. That's the site right now of the famed Tropicana Hotel and Casino that's been there for 66 years.
Really?
Right there on the Strip, just as you pull in from Los Angeles, the first major hotel on the Strip on the right-hand side driving in from L.A.
So the Tropicana is making way for a baseball stadium. Is
They're
what you're
tearing
telling
it
us?
down not next month, but the month after. In December, they're starting to tear it down.
Okay, fair enough. Had a
Yeah.
good run.
Movie news, little-known fact. Now, I know this isn't for you, Steve, but if you want to be the female lead in a Tom Cruise movie, you first must be interviewed about your personal views at the Los Angeles Church of Scientology.
Sure.
And if
Yeah.
you don't believe me, you can ask Katie Holmes, Jessica Alba, Lindsay Lohan, Kate Bosworth, or
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson. They've all been through it Obviously, some of them didn't make it.
Right.
Okay, get ready to make your book your reservations. This may be a little early to mark your calendar, but Disney has announced some openings of some movies, as of other studios. Avatar 3 will be released the 4th of July, 2025. Next will be Star Wars, July 4th, 2026. Then Avatar 4, Thanksgiving, 2028. And finally, Avatar 5, they say it'll be released Christmas, 2031.
Oh, just put me in a coma.
I know.
Who cares?
You got to be kidding. Who the hell cares?
I mean, obviously, tons of people, but boy, I sure couldn't imagine caring.
Yeah. You're going to look forward to it for, 7 years, 8 years?
Well, I do know that there will be some nights where other theaters will have plenty of seats, and I'll take advantage of those.
There you go. And you may know this next person. I'm figuring, being the great drummer that you are.
You almost said
spotted.
were. Admit it. You almost said were.
No, you still are. You got the chops, homie. You
Okay.
do.
All right. Appreciate it.
Spotted hanging together in Palm Springs, where they both live.
Uh-huh.
Former Guns N' Roses drummer Matt Sorum. You know him?
I do know Matt Sorum. Very friendly fella.
And Barry Manilow hanging out.
Really? Sorum and BM hanging in Palm Springs.
Yep. Both live in Palm Springs. You know, when I lived in Palm Springs, I went shopping at Jensen's Market, and I was standing in line, and I was right between Barry Manilow and Martina Navratilova, who lives there as well.
Wow. Fair enough, man.
But how about Matt Sorum and Barry Manilow? Is that a weird coupling or what?
No, I mean, no, man. You like
Really?
music, musicians, and Barry Manilow I can't think of his name, his drummer back in the day, the glory days, 70s through the 80s. Very well-respected drummer, so much so that I, as I said, can't remember his name, but met him a few times. No, I mean, it all checks out.
All right.
Matt
And
Sorum's an
finally-
industry shaker. Barry Manilow is one of the kings. I mean, yeah,
He is.
sure.
He really is. And finally, Chrissy Teigen, one of the most disliked celebrities in Hollywood, says that people don't understand she's actually one of the most popular celebrities in Hollywood.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, my question is, where do I get what she's been smoking?
It's a thin line between most disliked and most popular, Mike. You know that.
Maybe that's it. Got a couple movie reviews and some surprises tomorrow on Friday. Everybody have a great day. Talk to you tomorrow. See ya.
Look forward to that. Thank you, Mike Evans. If you happen to miss the fact that there was a hailstorm at Red Rocks last night just outside of Denver, we are talking today on the show about worst concert experiences ever. I don't care about your first or your best. Let's go worst. And just to set the palette again, give me that audio. This is what it sounded like at a Louis Tomlinson concert at Red Rocks last night. And that's before he sang a note. Hail, golf ball hail, just crushing a bunch of pop fans. 7 people hospitalized and 80 people treated on the scene. A completely insane moment in in concert history, but for Denver weather, it's just Wednesday.
Yeah, right. I mean, the hailstorms, much like I know a lot of people here in Minnesota head out to the Black Hills for the Sturgis Rally in August.
Yep.
And August, the hailstorm, beautiful, sunny, and then all of a sudden, downpour, raining sideways. You'll go around the bend, beautiful, sunny 75, 10 minutes of hail. You get it all. I remember it hailing 3 times in one day on a beautiful, sunny day
Sure.
there. And that's how it moves, because that warm air slides on up the mountain and hits that cold air, and bam-o, you get some instant hail. But
Bam-o.
I've been caught, bam-o, I've been caught in some marble-sized hail out in a field, before, and that hurts. Golf
is,
ball size, that'll leave a lump.
Yeah, that certainly will. Worst concert experiences. That's a fun topic.
Oh, yeah.
For a Thursday morning. But in the meantime, why don't we look back a little bit farther back? Sports history on this day in 2002, a horrible day in Major League Baseball. Darryl Kyle, pitcher for the St. Louis Cardinals, died in his hotel room. They were playing the Cubs in Chicago. Team personnel noticed he wasn't on the bus. They went to his room. He had died in his sleep. He was 33 years old, a solid pitcher for the Cardinals. Found out he had an enlarged heart. 2 of his coronary arteries were 90% blocked, and 1 had a significant blood clot. An absolutely shocking death. It was a real black cloud over the game for that whole year. Darryl Kyle was the first Major League Baseball player to die during the regular season since Thurman Munson back in '79 from a plane crash. 3-time All-Star, 1 no-hitter, and by all accounts, just a hell of a guy. Rest easy, Darryl. On this day in 1994, the Houston Rockets, thanks to Michael Jordan's sojourn into baseball, won the NBA championship. They beat the Knicks in 7 games. Olajuwon named MVP of the series, but the game most memorable for John Starks of the New York Knicks, he was 2 for 18, 0 for 11 from behind the three-point line.
Oop.
One of the worst shooting performances, actually the worst shooting performance for a starting player during the NBA Finals ever. He was widely criticized, as was head coach Pat Riley. Nobody could believe he left Starks in the game when he was clearly having the worst game of his life.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Thursday, June 22nd. We are discussing your worst concert experiences ever. One of the best concert experiences I ever had was seeing that man we just heard, Bruce Springsteen, in 1984, because I slept soundly during a good bit of the set.
You did.
Yeah, born in the USA at his absolute apex. Drove 3.5 hours in a thunderstorm. Dark, rainy night. I handled the drive. Was exhausted when we got to Rupp Arena in Lexington, Kentucky. And then, shortly into the set, my man whipped out an acoustic guitar and sat down and did like 4 or 5 numbers down low. And we were in the second row, and I was snoring.
Attaboy.
And by the way, sober as a judge, dead asleep at a Springsteen gig.
That almost takes talent. I was with a friend who fell asleep during a Who concert. I'm like, how? But she, I believe, had passed out.
Was it Keith Moon?
It was not Keith Moon. Okay. But maybe she was channeling Keith Moon, was on some horse tranquilizer that night. But I thought, that's impressive, falling asleep during a concert. But I saw that same, I was on that same tour. But I saw him, I think it was in 85, yeah.
Yeah, it was a
Chicago.
good 2 or 3 year run around the world as he became the biggest thing ever. On the KQ Facebook page, the post is up. What's your worst concert experience? Either due to your own wrongdoing, the weather, or some other crazy thing. The weather, well, that's because last night in Denver, outside of Denver, at the Amphitheater Red Rocks, one of the most beautiful, most well-known concert venues on planet Earth. Well, it's June, so of course there was a giant hailstorm. A kid named Louis Tomlinson, Louis from One Direction, a pop star from England, was performing or about to perform, and literal golf ball-sized hail rained down upon the kids assembled. It sounded like a horror film. It sounded like this. That's real audio of people fleeing the scene. Hail just coming down from the heavens. And yes, we're laughing because everybody's okay. Now, there were 7 people hospitalized, actually. No life-threatening injuries. 80 people treated on the scene. A golf ball, I know what it feels like to be hit by a golf ball flying through the air. It doesn't feel good at all. So I imagine a golf ball-sized piece of hail is pretty similarly awful.
Yeah, it's got some momentum. It's coming down from about, I don't know, maybe 10,000 feet, maybe a lower deck than that for hail. But, yeah, that would sting. That'd leave a lump.
The band Kings of Leon, bad concert experiences are not limited to concert goers. The band Kings of Leon years ago were playing a gig outside of Indianapolis. I think it's Noblesville, Indiana. There's an amphitheater. I've been there many times myself. A lot of tours go through there every year. Kings of Leon on stage, and above the stage, it's like an old A-frame wooden structure, and there's a bunch of birds that roost, I should say, up in the wooden beams. And the bassist, I believe, for the Kings of Leon, at the microphone, putting his heart and soul into a backup vocal performance with his mouth wide open, received a giant dollop of pigeon crap right into his mouth.
Oh, my God.
On stage. He choked, he spat, he stopped playing, of course, and the song came to a halt. He ran off stage. They ended the concert, if memory serves. He did not return, to which every rock musician I knew was like, oh, Come on, man. Wash it out with a beer and get back
Right.
up there.
Exactly. You've got a bottle of Jack sitting there somewhere. Gargle it
Yeah,
out.
they'll kill the germs.
Listen, I've thrown up on stage in between songs more than once. Get with the shoulder to the wheel, kid. Shoulder to the wheel. But, I can't say I threw it because a bird crapped in my mouth. Maybe that is just enough of a traumatizing thing where you basically say, yeah, we've all had enough. We heard from a caller in the first hour who went to see Alice Cooper, and someone threw a tear gas bomb into the middle of the crowd. And I believe, Candace, do we have another caller from that same concert?
Yeah, Dave from Coon Rapids.
Dave, good morning.
Good morning.
Did you get tear gassed at Alice Cooper?
Yeah, I was like all of a sudden we was playing Schools Out.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of balloons, big, huge balloons going out, and I couldn't hear what he said, but what Alice screamed out tear gas, and it's like I watched the whole ground. I watched the whole ground floor just all of a sudden disappeared. Everybody on the main floor, and we were up on the upper decks, and then all of a sudden, the whole first level took off, and then it was all of a sudden, it was like somebody threw a handful of salt in your eyes and covered your mouth.
Ugh.
And I can't believe somebody didn't die, because I know I stepped over people. I was going out the door, the double doors. I got a big scar on my top of my head from hitting the metal trim on those big double doors as you going out.
How long ago was this? What year?
1978. April 29th, 1978. I'm on the webpage. Of course, it's
Holy smokes.
made rock and roll legend out there, but yeah.
Yeah, there was ambulances out there and everything. I was surprised that, it didn't even I don't even think it even made the papers or anything like that.
Now we wonder why you can't sneak a flask into a concert anymore. Hoople heads like this,
Yeah.
It was crazy.
That is absolutely crazy. Thank you for the call, brother. We appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah, nobody held accountable for that. Of course, in a chaotic rock concert and everybody, piling out. They didn't catch the canister thrower.
I guess not. The Led Zeppelin played Tampa Stadium in 1977, I want to say. At the time, it was the largest single-act concert ever in the United States. The big sombrero, the old stadium that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers played in when they first started in the league. That famous concert because A, they sold the most tickets ever for one band, and then B, very short set because of a thunderstorm. The clouds opened up and they walked out and couldn't finish the show, and there was a bit of a riot there. The weather does get in the way sometimes, and then of course sometimes people just throw a tear gas canister out into an arena. That's inconceivable, man.
I'm looking at an interview here from 2016 with Alice Cooper. Any standout memories from concert experiences? Oh, yeah, there was a big one at the arena in St. Paul in probably the late 70s. He goes on and on, talking about that they couldn't finish the song or breathe. It was truly horrible. Afterwards, we printed up T-shirts for the whole crew that read, "I survived St. Paul."
Wow. Holy smokes. We opened, my former band, we opened for Robert Plant in 1990 all around North America, and we played in Montreal at the Montreal Forum, which is cool. I'm walking in like, oh, wow, look, we're going to play in the Canadiens Arena. This is amazing.
Yeah.
And there was a strike, like the ushers, the arena personnel were all on strike. So there was no one there to take people to their seats or make sure you're in the right seats. So the floor, they had the seats out on the rink, but the stage is at one end. They had all the seats there, but there was no one. The school teachers were all off that day, basically. And so what the fans did during our set, it was just a free-for-all. They were just throwing the chairs out of the way so it could be a mosh pit up front. Again, this is a Robert Plant show in 1990, not Bad Brains. But then people started stacking the chairs. They were the kind of stairs you could stack, and they were like, how high of a stack can we build? And then someone climbed to the top and sit in.
Oh, my God.
And the answer is, I don't know, but you've never seen anything funnier than a bunch of drunk Quebecois falling, crashing to the earth after climbing a 15 or 20 chair stack, and no one trying to help them. Not one person's like, we'll catch you. It's like, run, he's falling. And during our set, we just watched people falling off chair towers. Oh, God, it was crazy.
That is crazy.
Completely insane.
A lot of people on the KQ Facebook post, by the way, approaching 100 comments already this morning. Shared your experience, Tony. A lot of pukers at concerts, and they take people with them. They never puke quietly between their feet.
A lot of collateral damage.
A lot of collateral damage.
Unwritten rock concert rule, which is if you drink too much, make sure you leave a little something for your fellow concert goers, hopefully on their shoes. Candace, we have some more callers.
Michelle from Cambridge.
Michelle, good morning.
Good morning.
What's happening?
Hey, I think it was 1999. I'm not sure. It's been a long time. I was at the last Ozfest I played at Somerset, Wisconsin.
Okay.
It was crazy that night. Not only was it rain, but people set outhouses on fire everywhere.
Uh-oh.
And then down by our campsite, the campers that go on the trucks, someone set that on fire too. Eventually, every one of us, we could not leave our campsite. We had to stay there for the rest of the night.
Oh, man.
And Ozfest in Somerset, they were banned. They could never go there again after that.
That checks out. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but you got out okay. Nobody was injured or anything with your group.
No, but before it all happened at concert, it was nuts. There were people moshing, there were people fighting, and because we would go every year to Somerset and camp at Ozfest.
Right.
And right across the street down there by the river is where we camped. That was a party area there, boy.
Yeah.
That was crazy, And then Ozfest after that happened went a couple of hours further, so I haven't got to see him since then, But oh my God, I mean that was like the worst and the best. I would say.
I love that. It's the worst and best all at once. Thank you for the call, Michelle. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Hey, good morning.
All right, rock on.
I don't believe that.
Yeah, man, you know it. That's fantastic. The campfires getting lit at Ozfest, that all checks right out to me. Candace, do we have somebody else who wants to share a story?
Yeah, Donna from Maplewood.
Donna, good morning.
Look. Hey, how you doing?
All is well on this end. What have you got for us?
Well, okay, you remember when they stopped doing general admission concerts back in the 70s?
Yeah.
Do you remember why?
Well, I know that the Who gig, I think it was in 81 in Cincinnati, had a lot to do with that.
Oh, that was 81, huh? I was thinking it was earlier. Anyway, okay, it was Halloween, Elton John in the Twin Cities, and everybody was, and it was at the Civic Center, which is no longer, but it's kind of XL. Anyway, it was packed outside, waiting for the doors to open. Lots of people dressed in costumes. They opened the doors, and my feet didn't touch the floor for about 3 minutes. And I'm not lying. I was smashed between people, and I thought I was going to freak out.
Yeah.
And they were all in costumes, scary costumes. And then we got in there, and all of a sudden it was just open, and we could walk after I'm not carried in.
Yeah.
And then we get down there, and he plays Funeral for a Friend, and it was awesome.
Thankfully, you weren't the friend. Yeah.
Funeral for a Friend. Yeah, it was apropos. It was almost a funeral for me.
Well, no kidding. By the way, that was 79. I'm sorry. I'm getting my years in high school and crazy concert stories. You were right. The Who concert was at the end of 79. And I'm glad that, after being carried in, you made it through the gig. Thank you for the story. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Yep, it was quite the experience. Thank you.
I was not at the Who concert in Cincinnati, but I was offered a ticket, and I was denied the opportunity to attend because I was failing algebra. So thank you, math.
Yeah, right,
for keeping me out of
exactly.
that scrum. My buddy Mike and his sister were right in the middle of that throng, too. They got knocked down. They were not trampled. They got right back up. They were helped up. But they, the next day, back at school, horrifyingly, telling the story. And I was like, oh, my God, I would have been there if not for my dad thinking algebra was going to be a part of my life.
Yeah, right, exactly.
You're going to need this one day. Really? Watch this. The Marshall Tucker Band is playing tomorrow night at Canterbury Park, and we have some tickets that we would love to give to a listener. And in order to do that, well, we're going to make you play a little game. Tony, what is today's game of choice?
Who Rocks? Today you'll be competing with another combination of delightful band-themed useless information. It's Marshall Tucker. So who's the Marshall? Who's the Tucker? All the questions will involve a Marshall or a Tucker.
I get excited. I think we should always refer to this game as Who Rocks? rocks? we got to go straight who to the police to make it right. Okay, so who rocks? By the way, useless information. Bite your forked tongue.
Yeah, I suppose.
These are the sort of things that get us out of bed in the morning. Rock trivia and who rocks. All right, we've got two people ready to roll. Candace, who is contestant number one?
Gene from Stillwater.
Gene, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
How are you, man?
Good. And yourself?
We're all good. Thank you very much. Gene, I got a quick question. Do you, in fact, rock?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes.
All right, sometimes.
Are you a dancing machine?
Well, let's hope this is one of those times. Gene the dancing, Gene the rocking machine. Tony's gonna take over, and I wish you the best of luck, sir. Tony?
All right, Gene, sometimes rocker. Number 1, legendary Vikings purple people eater. Number 70, famously returned a fumble going the wrong way in
Jim
the
Marshall.
Opposition's end zone. Yes, good. Well,
okay, fair enough.
yes, Jim Marshall is correct.
Bingo, bango, boingo. 1 for 1, Gene. You're off and running.
You're an eager little rascal. All right, number 2, starred with Jackie Chan in Rush Hour and Ice Cube and Friday, a high-pitched voice deaf comedy jam comedian. Is it Chris Tucker, Tucker Carlson, or Tuxon Chrysler?
Chris Tucker.
Yup.
Yes, sir.
Chris Tucker. Number 3, the late actress, director, producer who rose to fame in the 70s as Laverne and Shirley's Laverne DeFazio. Is it Jenny Marshall, Beansprout Marshall, or Penny Marshall?
Penny Marshall.
Yes, sir. And your last one, a shooting guard star from the Minnesota Golden Gophers who went on to play in the NBA for 11 seasons, including a championship year with the Chicago Bulls. Is it Spud Tucker, Trent Tucker, or Tucker Jokovic?
Trent Tucker.
You are correct. Boy, you did darn well, mister.
Boy, Gene, you're right, Tony. He is an eager little rascal. Gene is ready to rock it. 4 for 4. Very well played, sir. We're going to put you on ice for a minute. Let's see how you do against the competition. Candace, who is contestant number 2?
Paul from Elk River.
Good morning, Paul.
Good morning.
Are you ready to play Who Rocks?
As ready as I'm ever going to be.
I appreciate the self-awareness, my friend. All right, Tony, take it away.
All right, Paulie, number 1. He served as Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the United States for nearly a quarter century. Is it Thurgood Marshall, Marshall Redenbacher, or Judge Wapner?
Thurgood Marshall.
Yes, sir.
Bam.
Number 2, speed rapper with a stage name Eminem. Is it LL Cool Marshall, Marshall Mathers, or Jerry Mathers?
Whoa, that's a tough one.
Yeah.
You got a lifeline on that one?
I know.
No lifeline, huh?
Sorry, not today.
Give it a
What are
run.
my options again?
LL Cool Marshall, Marshall Mathers, or Jerry Mathers?
Marshall Mathers.
Nice.
Yes, sir. The M and the M. Eminem.
Boy, you are perilously close to getting us onto a Leave It Beaver tangent here. Congratulations. 2 for 2.
All right, number 3, American country music singer and songwriter. She had her first hit, Delta Dawn, at the age of 13. Is it Daisy Bell Tucker, Mother Tucker, or Tanya Tucker?
I'm going to go with Tanya Tucker.
You went in the right direction.
Well done, Paul. Well done.
Your last one, Paulie. A lovable Dalmatian who is the firefighter and medical pup from the cartoon series Paw Patrol. Is it A, Marshall, B, Tucker, or C, Larry?
I'm going to go with Marshall.
Oh, yes. By God, we got us a battle here, do we not?
Wow.
Gene and Paul, not
Sitting in a
Stanley
tree.
and Simmons, but our 2 listeners are going for their battle royale, no question about it. All right, we're looking at 60 minutes clocks up, but we still have some ball to play, Tony.
All right, we got a tiebreaker for you fine lads. Here's your question. According to Guinness World Records, the oldest father with documentation was Australian Les Colley, who in 1991 fathered a son at the age of what?
Gene, you are up first. Oldest father ever.
87.
Okay, 87, says Gene. Paul, what do you think?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I'm going to go with 85. 85.
Oh,
85 going under. Okay, Tony, oldest father ever, Les Colley. Love that name, from Australia. How old?
the oldest papa was 92.
0.5, I understand.
Ah, yes. I was about to say.
92.5. So that means Gene, who guessed 87, will be winning tickets to see Marshall Tucker Band tomorrow at Canterbury Park. Congratulations, Gene.
Congratulations.
Paul, well played on your end, sir. Just wasn't quite enough. The tiebreaker tripped you up. Thank you both for calling in and playing.
You bet. It was a blast.
Great. Thank you, sir.
I love the show. I just want to say that I saw you, Steve, in concert back in '91 with Aerosmith at Alpine Valley. That was really awesome.
Was that your worst concert experience ever?
That was it.
No, not at all. But,
The drummer barfed in a bucket next to the...
I'm gonna nitpick a little bit. It was 90. And then secondly, you can see the Hard to Handle video shot that night at Alpine Valley.
YouTube.
Cool.
Yeah, all that live footage, that's from Alpine Valley.
All right, yeah.
Right on. Well,
Yeah,
thank you, sir. I
that was a long time ago.
appreciate the call, and thanks for playing, and I'm glad you remember that night fondly.
I did not see you with Guns N' Roses at Aerosmith at Alpine Valley, but I did see Aerosmith at Alpine Valley. We did skip the opening band to get all stoned up out in the parking area. And, of course, that opening band in 1997, I believe, was Guns N' Roses. Or might have been
87.
Or 87, I mean. Yeah, 87 or 88. It was right before they were the biggest band in the world.
Yeah, it was 88. That was the and they shot a video while opening for Aerosmith, but it was a giant stadium. The Paradise City video where they're playing a stadium, that was actually in their opening slot for Aerosmith.
Right, and luckily I skipped that show so I could get stoned for the Aerosmith show.
Well, Aerosmith needed all the help you could muster, I guess, is the way you looked at it. How do you remember much about the night after you got stoned in the park?
Yeah, it wasn't that. It was just some good old grass and slamming a few beers. But yeah, no, I was in concert shape. That's back when I could hang. So yeah, no, that was nothing. And that would have been the time to see Guns N' Roses because every other time I saw them after that, they sucked.
Well, I was going to say, chances are, Guns N' Roses, not known as a great live band back in those days. Axl had a tendency to, if he did show up late or belligerent and rewrite the set list as they were going. And it was just a confusing time for those young lads.
Well, in fact, that was my experience with them after that. In Minneapolis, I think they were, 4 hours late to come out with Metallica and the Monsters of Rock tour. Yeah, but I did stick around for that one. Metallica saved the night big and bad. And then when they played out in Sturgis, I think they were 2 hours late, and I'd had enough by then. And I was like, they're going to come out any minute now. I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm not sticking around. No one's that great.
I never understood the delaying the gig starting time. The whole point of being on the road is the show. You know what I mean? And our band, we had a lot of misery in my band, but the idea that, delaying the show just meant we were holding off our own possible having a good moment. You know what I mean? It's like we might be in a better mood if we get to play the gig. So let's get up there soon.
Right.
In a very bizarre. It wasn't a working man's work ethic necessarily. It was just the misery might end if we get on stage. Let's try it. You know?
Right.
The idea of waiting around 2 hours for your singer to decide it's time to go. Man, at no time in my life would I have been able to handle that. I would have lost my mind.
Just disrespectful. But now I understand. I mean, now he's on time, and apparently the band puts out a pretty good show. So I might give him another run if I have the opportunity.
Yeah, a lot of raves over the last. I mean, I think it's been 7 years now. Wasn't it 2016 when Guns N' Roses first went out with Slash and Duff back in the band? And I remember seeing that announcement and thinking, "There's just no way." Right. That is got to be a misprint. There's no way they put that thing back together, but they obviously did. And 7 years later. Arenas and stadiums still around the world. It makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah, I know we were talking about Matt Sorum earlier.
That's right.
Formerly with the Cult and some other bands, was out with them right about that time. I think they got back together.
He's not a part of this this latest run. Right. The guy that was in the band, I think, playing with Axl, that guy is with them to this day. But you got the big three. You got Axl, Slash, and Duff. That's good enough for me.
Yeah. They were awesome last year.
Were they?
I got wild. Let me tell you that.
Did you get
A lot of hair
What does that
shaking.
mean?
Not one of your worst concert experiences then.
No, it was one of my favorites, actually.
Candace, you have not chimed in. What's your worst concert
Oh
experience?
gosh.
Uh-oh.
Well, so this one. I mean, okay, if we're not okay, my wrongdoing or theirs?
Either. Just pick one.
Yeah.
Pick
Okay,
one out
I'll
of the
do
hat.
theirs, and this is why I hate Sting. Is
Oh.
because I saw Sting at the XL like 5-6 years ago, and something was wrong with his mic or something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, that he couldn't hear. I don't know, whatever. And he kind of was a brat about it. Like, it cut off in the middle of the song, which I understand how frustrating that can be. But the whole audience started singing along. They knew every word. They were just like, "We love you. Like, look at me and look at us. We know all your words. We love you, Sting." And he just walks off.
Well,
So
We
that was my,
talked about that. I was at that concert too.
So
it was
dumb.
an immense amount of feedback preceded that.
I mean, yeah, I get it. But like, can you embrace your fans, dude?
Yeah,
like,
he's loud.
Sting.
these
come on.
these
Well, I just
hemp-
don't like him now.
These hemp pants are not going to walk off stage by
Right,
themselves.
yes. He had several hours of tantric love to make. He didn't have time for that crap.
Hey, speaking of Sting, I got some great news. We've just announced 92 KQRS's Rock the Boat 80s party.
Yes.
Friday, July 21st with Paddleford Riverboats. We're going to launch from Harriet Island in downtown St. Paul for a night of drinks, free food from Lucky's 13 Pub, and live music from Rough House. Tickets on sale now at 92kqrs.com. Listen all day for your shot to win. We're going to give out tickets every hour starting at 10 a.m. this morning. Oh, we'll rock the 80s. Make no mistake about
Yeah,
it.
so
what night
fun.
is that?
That is July 21st, my man. Friday night, July 21st.
Of course it is. All right, Acme headliner Kevin Bozeman will join us at 8 o'clock. We're excited for that. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Thursday, June the 22nd. Good morning. In a few minutes, Kevin Bozeman's going to be joining us on the show. He's at the Acme Comedy Company tonight and throughout the weekend. A very funny gentleman indeed. Last night in Colorado at Red Rocks, a concert was delayed and then canceled due to a freakishly traumatizing hailstorm, literally. We've been talking about horrible concert experiences all morning based on that. But right now, he's already with us. This is great. Kevin Bozeman's on the horn, playing it, or I should say performing at the Acme Comedy Company. Show tonight sold out. Tickets available for 2 nights. 2 shows, I should say, Friday, 2 shows Saturday. Kevin, good morning, man.
What's up? How are you guys doing? Can you hear me? Is the signal good?
It's all good. You sound just like you.
Because it's morning time, which is like kryptonite for me. So
I understand. Well, the sad thing is it's kind of kryptonite for us too, but what are you going to do? This is where we find ourselves.
you guys, this is your bread and butter. Morning time, greeting people, sending them off to live their mediocre lives.
Yeah.
He sounds more up and alert than we do, however. Kevin, you got it going on this AM.
Are
man.
you is this the last thing before you hit the sack? Is you just wrapping up your night, or what's going on?
Listen, I cannot confirm or deny the things that happens in the lovely city of Minneapolis, but there is for sure bourbon still coursing through my veins.
Yeah, attaboy. Any particular brand? Are you is there one that jumps out, or do you just take what they give you?
Last night I was enjoying Knob Creek.
Yeah,
good choice.
Nothing wrong with Knob Creek. And I say that as a Kentuckian. You played basketball at Whitewater. How was your game?
Listen, I could talk trash with the best of them, but if somebody was really good, then it was Division III. So
sure.
I was limited, but it was super fun, super competitive. I don't play now. I just talk trash. I don't show up. Like I'll be like, I'll meet you tomorrow at what time? But I never show up.
Yeah, that's been my game for about 25 years too. Were you a distributor? Were you a shooting guard, point guard? How did you approach the game of basketball?
I was a small forward, but no one these days wants to see me doing a sky hook. I don't know why sky hooks are played out, but that's my move. I pump fake 8 times, and then I sky hook.
Yeah. It's the 8th that gets him every time.
He was like, he can't possibly pump fake an 8th time. Oh, but I can.
You know, you're not going to believe me when I tell you this, but it's true. My older brother Jim played at Whitewater for one season in the mid-'70s.
Oh my gosh! What position?
He was a shooting guard. He was 6'6" back then, so that was big for a 2 back in the day. He transferred in. Here's the craziest part. He transferred in from Morgan State. He was the only white player in an entirely black conference, much less his school. And he transferred for 1 year and then went back to Baltimore. But he had 1 year at Whitewater. Not his best year, not his most he wasn't ready for the winter.
Wait. So Morgan State was an all-black school except for him?
Yep.
All-black team except for him?
Yes, sir.
And then he balanced it out perfectly by going to Whitewater.
Well, he transferred up because my family, we had plans to move to Wisconsin. Anyway, long story short, he transferred up. When the coach picked him up at the airport, he was expecting a black player because he came from Morgan. Just speaks to how different the world was, 45, 50 years ago. That, photos, bio, he's coming in from Morgan. He's probably pretty good. Anyway.
Right.
Sorry for that diversion. So you don't play ball anymore. After your basketball career, though, at some point, obviously, it hit you like, I make people laugh. I might have to try this for a living. What got you on stage the first time?
Listen, one is a hard realization that I have no other job skills.
Right. Yeah, that helps.
So I have to do that. And two, I love doing it. I love traveling. But I do live through my kids now. Like, I'm always trying to, entertain them. And my son is 6'7" and does not play basketball.
Oh.
It's the most passive-aggressive way of saying I don't love my father.
Yeah, right.
And he's an athlete, and he's out here learning. What's going on with you?
Man,
He told me that his heart wasn't in it, to which I replied, I don't care. That's not why I had you. Get out there and chase my dreams.
Yeah.
Man, heart's not in it, but your height is in it. Get back up.
I know. So basically, yeah. So I'm on the road, and I love doing stand-up, and I love roasting my kids and talking about, the ins and outs of societies. It's a fun job, and I work an hour a day. You can't put a price tag on that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a pretty good point right there. Kevin Bozeman's with us on the KQ Morning Show at Acme Comedy. Tonight's show is sold out. Tomorrow and Saturday, you've got 7 and 9:30 shows. There are a few tickets remaining to both of those. So you've been in the Twin Cities many times, I'm assuming.
Yes, and I've been eating salad since I got here just to prep for my one day of getting Juicy Lucy.
Oh, yeah.
Very nice.
Now, where do you like to enjoy your Juicy Lucy? Do you have a place picked out, or are you just going to Google Juicy Lucy near me?
No. There's the spot that we go to in St. Paul. I forget the name of it.
The Nook.
The Nook.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I bet it is the Nook. Yeah, that's top tier. That's top 3.
Right. We'll go. Yeah, if I'm going to Juicy Lucy, I'm going to make sure I do it. I'm going to do it right. I'm not going to just take 2 patties with a slice of cheese in the middle. I want it done.
Uh-huh.
Right? And, because I'm at that age now where if I know I'm going to eat poorly, I have to take the whole week of eating healthy to have one poorly meal.
Oh, come on, man. You can't be that old.
Well, I mean, I'm peaking. I can still do the things I used to do, just not as long.
Yeah. That's how it starts. That's how it starts. The stamina fades.
There's subtle changes about myself, right? Like now I realize, when I'm done peeing, I'm actually not done peeing.
I hate that.
Yeah, that's a Rubicon we've all crossed. It's fascinating, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like halftime when I go. It's just like, all right, I guess I'm taking a break.
Halftime.
Yeah, I talked about that. I talked about that the other day. And inevitably, if you're in a public restroom, there is like a 22-year-old guy that comes in right next to you. You've been standing there for, people are getting worried outside the bathroom. Is he okay? And then some 22-year-old guy walks in and goes, and just walks right back out. You're like, you son of a... That's your power stream.
because he's got that jet stream going.
That's it.
I know how to miss it.
Kevin Bozeman's with us on the KQ Morning Show. Kevin, last night in Red Rocks, a concert was canceled because golf ball-sized hail fell over the entire audience. It was a brutal hailstorm, in fact, that hospitalized a few people. Have you ever been at a concert or at a sporting event where something went completely haywire like that and the whole thing was canceled?
Wait, what concert was it? Who was it?
It was Louis Tomlinson. He's a kid from that One Direction English band.
Yeah, so that was God's work.
That was what that was. Quick heads up to the Louis Tomlinson fans. You've been warned.
That was nothing but saying, no, this concert's over. We're done.
Yeah. Sorry, we shouldn't have let this kid out in the first place.
No, but, during stand-up, I had my mic go out one time, and I just had to yell at the audience, and I lost my voice for 3 days. That's probably the worst I've had.
You soldiered on, though. That's impressive.
What's that?
I said you soldiered on, though. I mean, you didn't say, I don't have a mic, I'm out of here. I mean, you stuck with it. I like that.
Yeah, man. It's the funny thing about that. It's like when you don't do a show, sometimes they don't give you a paycheck.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I got to get paid, man.
Yeah, if the microphone doesn't work, I'm sure they're so willing to not give me a paycheck.
Right.
So I want to make sure I get paid. So I just yelled and power through it.
Cause and effect, man. It gets in the way of a lot of otherwise good times. Where'd you grow up, Kevin?
Chicago.
In Chicago. So Cubs or Sox?
Yeah. I like baseball, White Sox.
Yeah. That's great.
I'm taking shots.
I like it.
I'm actually in the suburbs, though. I love the suburbs. As soon as I moved to the suburbs, I bought a North Face coat to let white people know I was safe.
Yeah, right. It's a wise move. It's important, man. You don't want to waste a minute.
Here's my badge.
Yeah. So as a kid growing up in the 90s then, man, that was a good time to be a Bulls fan.
Yeah, right. It's so funny that right now Chicago is like half mast. The flags are half mast because Jordan and Pippen are beefing with each other.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw
that.
Scottie Pippen called Michael Jordan horrible, and then Michael Jordan sent his son to sleep with Scottie's wife.
Yeah. Oh, ouch.
Oh,
Well, thus proving the point that he is in fact horrible. But don't mess with Mike. You think.
Listen, don't. It's like when you're in Chicago and you have Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan fighting. It's like being a parent and watching your two kids fight.
Yeah.
One kid is clearly the favorite kid.
Sure. Well, it's like no one's putting money on Robin to get one over on Batman. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, you're the little guy in the passenger seat. Just enjoy the view.
Yeah, that's correct. But the Bulls runs are great memories, and basketball is so fun now. You guys have an interesting player, Karl Anthony Towns, who says some of the most ridiculous takes in the history of the NBA.
He does. I think recently he said he's going to change the game and he'll be remembered forever. It was a bunch of that happening, and whatever it takes to get you through the day, Karl Anthony. But still waiting for some better results in the postseason.
He also said that their run in the season was more impressive than the Denver Nuggets run. You guys think about that. Answer yourself, T-Wolves fans. I want to hear it.
Got nothing.
Yeah, it's funny. It's amazing how little we talk about the T-Wolves. There just isn't that much to say. Kevin Bozeman is at Acme.
You guys need to come see me.
Kevin,
we can talk about it.
Yeah, I'm down to talk NBA anytime. Kevin is at the Acme Comedy Company. Tonight's show is sold out, but there are still a few tickets for tomorrow, 7 to 9:30, Saturday, 7 to 9:30. Kevin, it is an absolute pleasure, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. You guys have a good one. Thanks for having me.
See ya. We can all. There can be self-deprecation. There can be all kinds of things. I'm telling you right now, anybody that plays Division III basketball is better than you think.
Yeah.
They're better than the best guy you played high school ball with. Because you get to that age, I grew 2 inches the year I turned 18. I naturally just got way stronger, could jump way higher. When you get a bunch of guys in their 20s that are willing to play Division III and get up and practice and do all that, I'm telling you right now, the guy had game.
Yep,
Guarantee it.
You're doing it for the love of it. That's for sure.
That's a fact.
You're not taking it any further. You're just trying to extend your high school career. I did Division III football, and that's all that was about. I wasn't going to school. I wasn't going to classes. I was just trying to play football a little bit longer.
Sure.
That's what that was all about.
Sure you were.
Football, your worst concert experience. We're over 200 worst concert experience memories on the KQ Facebook page. Please keep them coming or share them on the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line 651-989-ROCK. If you have not heard the audio from the Red Rock show last night, golf ball size hail pouring down on a bunch of youngsters. Cliff, I did not doctor the audio. I've already been accused of doctoring the audio with like an old Blob movie trailer of the kids busting out of the movie theater. This is not doctored audio, and it's coming here at 8:30. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. Zep, Tony, Candace, and Steve Gorman are the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Thursday, June the 22nd. Throughout the day, we've been discussing horrible concert experiences, either through our own fault or the artist's fault or an act of God. That was the case last night at Red Rocks in Colorado. Now, our dear friend Zep has not doctored this audio. People are saying there's no way that's real. Make no mistake, this is real. Last night at Red Rocks during a concert by Louis Tomlinson, a pop star from England. He was in the band One Direction. I guess he rocks a little more than just pops. But anyway, a packed house at Red Rocks fled in absolute terror as a literal act of God hailstorm fell. And this is exactly how it sounded. An announcement from Red Rocks that bad weather was on the way. They said, please go back to your cars to shelter. It's not an easy thing to get from the seats at Red Rocks to the parking lot, first and foremost. But with very little time, people got very little time of warning, just a couple minutes before the hail really hit. It was a big, they knew a thunderstorm was coming. They were expecting big rain, which they got. The hail apparently was a bit of a surprise. Wow. I started the day kind of laughing at the sound of that and thinking, okay, it's awful. As everybody that was there is waking up and posting their videos and photos to Twitter, I have to apologize for laughing. It's horrible looking.
Yeah.
There are people who are saying, here, someone just posted on Twitter, these are my mom's hands. They're both broken because she was sheltering my sister's head. God. People are like putting their hands over their heads, and their hands are being broken by the hail. I mean, golf ball sized hail. Millions of pellets, and it's like ankle deep in the seats. I mean, it's crazy. Like there's legitimate
no covered area to escape from there, right?
Nothing. And then the concert goers are saying, I tried to get under the hot dog awning and the guy wouldn't let me. They're complaining about the staff there.
You have to buy a hot dog first.
I guess so. Man, but what an absolute nightmare out at Red Rocks. A gorgeous place, probably the most famous concert venue in America. I mean, it's right up there with the Hollywood Bowl or Madison Square Garden in lore of like, oh man, you see these concerts at a place as Red Rocks. What an incredible night that was. We're going to share some more of these comments because some of us have had crazy things happen at concerts that are just hilarious. Tony shared the story of a guy just puking all over you at a gig.
Row.
The whole row. Took a whole row down. We had a couple people who phoned in from a very famous 1978 Alice Cooper concert in St. Paul where someone set off a tear gas canister in the middle of the gig during School's Out, if you can imagine such a thing. So you can hit on the Facebook page, what's the weirdest concert experience you've ever had? One thing that we have not yet discussed today, and this would be a big day to discuss it, is this submersible, the 5-man sub, the folks who on Sunday went down to check out the Titanic. Under the best circumstance, once this ship went missing, they said they have 96 hours of oxygen. We've gone past 96 hours now. This is turning bleaker by the moment since Sunday. This is something I just read today, and this is kind of mind-boggling. And it speaks to, so let's think about the Titanic itself, not the submersible right now that's got 5 people that's missing. The Titanic itself that went down in 1912. has long been a subject of tremendous fascination. Every generation since learns about the Titanic, hears about the Titanic, and of course, in James Cameron's film from 1997, a whole new frenzy, a whole new group of people learned about the story. If you remember in the movie, as the boat is sinking, there is a very famous scene where an older couple is shown in their cabin and they lay in bed together, like they decide these are of the rich people on the Titanic. Some of the, looks like the upper class folks. There's an elder couple. They get in bed together, and as the water rushes around them, they just hold each other and accept their fate. That's a scene in the movie. That's based on a real couple. There was a guy named Isidore Straus. He was one of the co-owners of Macy's department stores. And Isidore Straus and his wife, Ida, were on board the ship, the actual Titanic. They were among the wealthier people on board. He was one of the wealthiest people in America at the time. And there were witnesses who recalled, as he was offered a seat on a lifeboat, he said, no, not unless all the women and children are removed first.
Amazing.
He stayed on board. His wife said, well, I'm staying with my husband. And there were multiple reports as the boat went down of them standing on the deck, arm in arm together.
Oh.
He wrote it out. And they went down, and they lost their lives. That man, Ida Straus's great-great-granddaughter, is married to the owner of this submersible.
Really?
The man who was on board, the guy Stockton Rush, who's on board his own ship and is probably lost to the sea, his wife is the great-great-granddaughter of Isidore Straus. Isn't that crazy?
That is
That
wild.
makes 3 for her now.
That her great-great-grandparents and now apparently her husband probably, I would imagine, lost his life with this Titanic. And it's I just think about the fact that this is a story that's 111 years old now, and it still fascinates people. This story this week has just brought all of this back. There are 7 museums on planet Earth right now devoted solely to the Titanic sinking. 7 whole museums. There's obviously that film. The first movie about the Titanic came out weeks after it sank. People were already shooting silent films, recreating moments. The Titanic continues to captivate the imagination of people the world around. And there's a lot of reasons why, people want to say this is. There's the number of people on board, but the fact that you had the wealthiest and all the way down to steerage. You had all the different classes intermingled. It was one of these events where, it didn't matter who you were, didn't matter how much money you had, and most importantly, first disaster like in human history with photographs and where people were aware of it happening as it was happening. The SOS calls went out from the Titanic. It was 2 hours and 40 minutes until it finally went underwater.
Yeah.
So people around the world, thanks to telegrams back then, the word was out. The Titanic is sinking, and people were like, I wonder what's happening. It was like, for a lot of reasons, it was unlike anything that had ever happened in human history. And, all that speaks to the fact that all those years later, the Titanic went down in 1912. A movie about it in 1997 became the biggest film of all time.
Yeah, well, the story, you can't write a story more compelling. First of all, let's start with unsinkable. That cocky notion that it's absolutely unsinkable in the North Atlantic. It's maiden voyage, of course.
Yeah, yep.
And the fact that it was covered by every news outlet in the world in real time as it was happening. I remember reading stories about, you talked about those telegraph stations in New York City. People were crowding them. There were huge crowds gathered around these telegraph stations to get the very latest word, as if we might crowd around our televisions or our smart devices these days to get the very latest word, an update. And then, of course, all of the aforementioned layered scenarios that you put in there as well, not to mention the heroics and the romantics of, the macabre romantics of, the story you just described about the couple that decided to stay behind.
The idea that the band played on the deck, musicians did stay and play music all the way down. The idea that, again, back to that 2 hours and 40 minutes, you have this time for people to make those kind of choices. It just captured the imagination because everybody in the world immediately thought, what would I have done? Like the story I just told about Isidore Straus. Would you have jumped on a lifeboat? Would you have said, no, I'm going to wait for the women and children. And then would you have stayed with your husband? I mean, everybody put themselves in those shoes of these people. 2 hours and 40 minutes. Usually when a ship sinks, it goes pretty quickly. You know what I mean? But for 2 hours and 40 minutes, this thing slowly worked. That is a Shakespearean play length. It's a Shakespearean play being played out in like at the length of an actual Shakespearean play.
And the drama and controversy, too, with the lifeboats not being filled to their capacity.
Right.
Yeah, there is so much about it that was unlike anything before. I mean, bigger ships had sunk previously. You know, more events had happened. But again, you've got the was it the Carpathia, the other ship that came up to try to rescue people? There were people on that boat taking photos. There are photos of the Titanic before it was fully underwater. You know, there are photos of the people in the water who survived. And, you know, so you actually have pictures of something like this happening that's almost 1,000 miles out to sea. Unlike anything else. And now this week, it's all back again.
Right.
It just brings up so much. It's almost like, is it societal? It's like in our DNA to care about this story. And then this submersible going missing brings with it all the Titanic fervor back. But now frustration and confusion and a sense of, why on earth would someone want to do this? Why would you put yourself into this submersible that by design didn't go through all the testing, a rigorous testing that let's say a naval vessel would have to? It just seems like guys kind of skirting the rules, appealing to that adventure traveler, and it seems like they're now paying the ultimate price for that by not having a better system. A journalist who was in a submersible with this very company. I'm sorry, he wasn't in the submersible, but he was on the mothership last year for a launch. It went down, and he said they lost it for a few hours last year.
Really?
They found it. It came back up, but while it was lost, the ship cut off all communications because they didn't want anybody tweeting that they'd lost the submersible.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
There's just more and more sort of, dubious things of a dubious nature coming to the surface about this company, OceanGate. And now, as we just said, the one thing everybody was holding out hope for was, well, they got 96 hours of oxygen. We've gone past that line about 2 hours ago. Yeah. So less and less chance, less and less likelihood that this vessel will be found and that the people on board will be found alive.
Well, and the people that are in the know, that, every time all the articles I've read, those in the know with experience, either firsthand or in, deep water submergibles, no one's really saying, yeah, I think, let's cross our fingers. They're all, sort of painting a terrible scenario, worst possible outcome kind of thing that most likely will probably happen, barring some sort of miracle here. And that, and then they don't talk about the things, or you start reading about the other things like the oxygen. Well, very quickly, if the power has gone out in this thing, which they suggest it must have, otherwise it could have made it back to the surface some way or been able to communicate. If the power did go out, that air supply would have run out much sooner because you're filling the air with carbon dioxide, which it's not able to filter out. Let's not forget it's freezing temperatures down there, somewhere between 30 and 40 degrees in this thing that would not be able to heat itself. And the darkness, the pitch blackness of those depths would have been... they tried to talk about that. It's unsettling. If, we close our eyes and put our hands over and imagine the darkest environment we could be in, it's darker than that. So dark that it creates instant anxiety. And so, you almost hope that it was something that happened, if they're gone, that it happened almost quickly and it wasn't something that, it took several days.
I saw an interview. A retired U.S. Navy submarine captain, David Parquet, said he was interviewed by NPR, and he was talking about if they did find it, the fact that they would, if they could even begin to try to rescue this ship, it would be such an elaborate deep sea operation. He was asked, well, if they do find them, what are the chances? And he said, I'd have to say less than 1%. This is from yesterday or the day before. We'll keep you updated. I keep expecting to hear something, but the truth is, I think at this point, most likely we'll never hear or see from this vessel again. I mean, the idea that they've already searched an area twice the size of Connecticut, and it's 2 miles deep, twice the size of Connecticut, and we're looking for something the size of of a large, like a Ford F-150, basically, chances are that this story has already concluded. It's just a matter of when everybody's going to finally face that fact. It's pretty brutal. Either way you look at it. But again, it just brings up all this Titanic thing. It's just one of those stories. I'm just thinking when you said people in New York at the telegraph office waiting for updates, that's us now on Twitter. Like, refresh, get the headlines, see what's happening. It's a pretty incredible story that we are in the year 2023. There's just something eternal about that damn shipwreck. 92 KQRS has your shot to win free gas for a year. Check this out. Weekdays at 9, 2, and 5, we're going to share a keyword for you to text. You can win $92.50, 92.5. Get it? $92.50 in free gas. Plus, you'll get tickets to an upcoming show at the Medina Entertainment Center, and you'll be entered into the contest to possibly win free gas for a year. So listen at 9 o'clock. This is sponsored by Body Gastroenterology and Quick Trip.
I love the tie-in there with the gastroenterology. All right, Boston at the Met Center. Jill, thanks for sharing on the KQ Facebook page. We're looking at these concert disasters. She puked on her date when she was 15. Boston at the Met Center. But listen to this. This is so Minnesota. Gets home, has puked all over her date. So as mom washes the date's clothes, the date sits there on the couch with dad looking at his old Navy yearbooks. Well, they get them all cleaned up. That's how we do it here in Minnesota, a concert disaster of the such. Keep them coming, please. Well over a couple of hundred to entertain us on the KQ Facebook page, or call them in. 651-989-ROCK is the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk and Text line. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show, Thursday, June the 22nd. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hi.
Just making sure you're paying attention.
Ooh, almost caught me. No, I'm right there with you.
It's pretty exciting stuff going on around here today. We're talking a lot about concert experiences on the morning show today. Last night, if you didn't hear, out at Red Rocks in Colorado, a concert by Louis Tomlinson was canceled after a freak hailstorm rained down on the thousands of people in attendance. Golf ball-sized hail and flash flooding amounts of water. What sounded like kind of a funny, isn't that crazy that happened story is now becoming, as we get more and more information, an actual nightmare for people. 7 people hospitalized, over 80 treated on the scene by paramedics. An absolutely crazy event. We've all had concert experiences that did not live up to expectations, or we've all had concert experiences that went a little haywire, certainly, but this one is absolutely off the charts. And we're going to take a call in just a moment. But first things first, it is 9 o'clock, and I have a very important announcement, and that is that if you're looking for free gas for a year right now, text the word MOTOR, M-O-T-O-R, to 651-989-ROCK. This will give you a chance to win $92.50 in free gas. It will give you a chance to win tickets to an upcoming show at Medina Entertainment Center, plus a shot at, yes, free gas for a year. Text MOTOR to 651-989-ROCK right now. Sponsored by Body Gastroenterology, the prize provided by Quick Trip and the Medina Entertainment Center. Good luck to all of you texters out there. But right now, as I said, Candace, we have a caller on the phone who would like to share a story with us.
Karen from Fridley.
Karen, good morning.
Hi, Steve.
How are you? We're great this morning. How's your day so far?
Good. I have to tell you, I went to a concert, and I think it was 78 or 79. I was like either I wasn't a senior, a sophomore or junior from Anoka.
Okay.
And there was like 6 of us that went down to the old Met, and there was Pablo Cruz, Steve Miller Band, and the Eagles.
Wow.
Yeah.
Solid.
And it was general admission. So, there was millions of people there, but of course we were drinking, so I had to go in the bathroom and throw up while I was there.
Well, of course.
Sure.
My friend had left me in the bathroom. So there's thousands of people, no cell phones. There's no way I was going to find anybody. I missed the whole concert. I walked out to a hotel that was down there and had to call my sister's boyfriend to come pick me up. So I missed the whole concert.
Ugh.
So I'm kind of mad she left the bathroom, but, I missed it.
So, wow. Did you ever get to see any of those bands again at another date?
No.
I thought she was going to say just Pablo Cruz.
Yeah, right.
Steve Miller and the Eagles, but dang.
Well, at least you didn't get into trouble. You got yourself out of there. You could have gotten into some trouble.
Yeah, there was,
could have led to
that much.
That was it back in the days. There weren't cell phones, if you can imagine. I mean, it was, if you got separated from your friends at a show, you were on your own. You had to try and remember where the hell you parked because that was your only chance of getting back together.
That's a fact right there.
I had no idea where we parked either.
Guilty of that myself. I've wandered around, yeah.
Oh, that's great. Well, we're all still kicking today, so it didn't end as poorly as it could have. Thanks for the call.
All right, thanks, you guys. Love you.
Yeah.
You got it. Thank you.
And now you can drop a pin and text your friends and the whole shooting match. Although I do remember, I'll bet Taylor Zepp, one of her worst concert experiences, I'm only guessing, maybe she withheld a couple from me, but getting a call at midnight while working the morning show on a school night, that I needed to come down to First Avenue. My daughter had been kicked out of a Mac Miller show.
Oh, man.
For fighting. And so I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Now I'm the guy. I used to be the guy getting kicked out of First Avenue. Now I'm the guy going down to pick up. So I go down and I get her, and she's like, Dad, they don't understand. And she's standing there with the other teenager that got also kicked out. Apparently those two were fighting, and they said, we don't know each other. We weren't even fighting, and we got kicked. That old story.
Yeah, sure.
But all of her friends are inside. No one's willing to come out or answer their text to come to. They're not leaving the show early, her friends. So we went across the street. What's that Irish bar? Starts with a D, I think. I can't remember now. Donovan's. And we sat in there and had chicken fingers and soda until the show was over, and her friends rejoined her. As the two girls, I'm sitting there with two teenagers crying. Yeah. They bring over the chicken fingers, and I said, just put the chicken fingers down. We'll get to them soon.
That's tough.
That was a good one.
That's tough. The first time I went to see AC/DC, I took the train in Atlanta, the MARTA. I got on a train. It was packed like sardines on our way to the Omni to see AC/DC in 1988. And when the train spilled out at the Omni station, I saw a guy walk over. He was already just absolutely 3 sheets to the wind, and he sat on a bench on the platform. And I noticed him, and I thought, oh, he's just going to let the throng of people get up the escalators, and he'll catch up. I walked out of the concert 2.5 hours later, and that guy was still sitting there.
Same spot.
I was like, oh, no. And he was not sitting in his own vomit, but like he literally was that. He just sat there and was like, I think I'm just going to ride this one out right here. Always felt bad for that guy. Candace, we have another caller?
Greg from Prior Lake.
Greg, good morning.
Good morning. I got a good one for you.
Lay it on us.
2004, Leonard Skinner played in Stillwater. And they planned on having like 20 to 30,000 people there. Well, in hindsight, there was like 55 to 80,000 people there.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So I got my motorcycle loaded. We go to the concert. My wife's got to take a leak.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the outhouses are about way back there.
Yeah.
And I said, just pee here. She goes, what do you mean? I said, look at all these other girls. They're just dropping their drawers, and I'll never see you again if you got to take a pee and walk that far.
Yeah, right.
So by the time I never did see her again.
Is this? Are you hoping she's listening and you can reconnect now? Is that where this is leading?
Yeah.
So I go back where my bike's parked, and we had fold-out lounge chairs, and I got a full dress Goldwing, so I'm bungeeing everything on there. I got a camcorder, chairs, a cooler, and I figured, hey, she'll come back to the bike. She knows where it's at.
Yep.
Well, never came back, and so I take off, and I get a mile down the road. It's like, son of a bitch, I left my camcorder on the top of a dumpster. I had the whole concert videotaped, and they had an aerial lift. Girls would go up into it, 50, 60 feet in there, and just strip and dance. And I had all this camcorder. And just a shout-out there, 2004 concert, Leonard Skinner. If you found the camcorder, you can keep the camcorder. I just want my tape back.
Yeah, damn
That's awesome, Greg. Thank you, man. That's we wish you luck.
Give me one more minute. So now about I ride home, just teed off as can be.
Sure.
Camp with my wife. I'm in Prior Lake. I get home about 2 a.m. without a wife. And I go to bed, and about 2:30, 3 o'clock, I hear Harley rumble up in the driveway. She gets up, comes in the house. Like, well, that wasn't a good night. She goes, man, you got to sell your gold on that Harley. I must have had like 2 orgasms on the way home.
It is.
So she, we're still married.
Yeah, sure you are. Did you get a new bike?
No, I sold it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, they don't call them the V-twin vibrator for nothing.
Yeah, that was worth the wait, Greg. Thank you, brother. Good luck getting that tape back.
An infamous show, by the way, Lumberjack Days. Stillwater not prepared for, that was a big show that we promoted and went gonzo. Like he said, so many people showed up, and precious little Stillwater just wasn't prepared for that. The next year they retaliated, but I kid you not, I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, it was, if not this band, it was a band at their equivalent, Air Supply.
Oh, boy.
To tone it way down. No more Skinner at Lumberjack Days.
That'll cut it right back. Tony, we've got a text you want to share.
Yes, good morning. I have a story of somebody falling forward and rolling across the top of the chairs all the way down at the XL Energy Center. They stopped 2 rows before dropping over the balcony. I can't get the sound of him and his feet and his head and his arms hitting those chairs all the way down. That was a hideous sound that I can't erase from my mind. It was a Bob Seger concert, and he tried to tell the ushers, I'm okay. But they said, nope, you're out of here.
Oh, my gosh.
So scary. I can't believe that doesn't happen more often.
Right.
Like it's real steep.
At these shows, you're right, and you get up there, a couple of beers, a little tippy, and it does, seem like...
It'd be great if it happened in a moment when Seeger was like, everybody quiet down, I want to tell you a quick story.
Turn the page.
Quiet down a little bit.
Here he comes.
I'm okay.
Oh, my God. Candace, do we have another caller?
Yeah, John from Delano.
John, good morning.
Good morning, Steve.
How are you, man?
I'm great. How are you doing?
Everything's good. What do you got for us?
Well, I'd just like to thank you at the beginning of the story for saving my daughter from grievous bodily harm. My story involves Black Crowes concert at the Hennepin Block Party back in probably like 94 or something like that.
96.
96. There you go.
But who can remember such things?
Oh, boy.
All right. I had my 4-year-old daughter at the time on my shoulders, and we were kind of like right in front of the stage, and everybody started moving side to side, like it became almost like a mosh pit.
Mm-hmm.
And literally, you guys stopped the show, I think probably due to the fact that I was standing right in front of Chris with my daughter on my shoulders looking panicked,
Yeah.
So I remember he stopped the show and said, hey, let's calm it down. We can do that later on at, I don't know, maybe he played at First Avenue or something later.
Wow. All right. When I heard, someone's got a story about a Black Crow show, honestly, I recoil in terror for what I'm about to hear usually. But, hey, we got that one right.
That was great. Yeah, so thanks for that.
Yeah, you got it, man. Thank you. Thanks for the call. We were all over at Leinenkugel this past Saturday, and a guy came up and said, hey, man, I can't wait to see the new band. My band Bagmen, it was our first gig. I said, thanks. He goes, yeah, I was at the last Crows gig you played with the band here in Minneapolis out at the zoo. And as soon as he said that, my heart sank because we had a great gig going that night, and then we stopped after about an hour and 10 minutes and didn't come back to the stage for reasons that will forever remain a mystery, but somebody was in a bad mood and didn't want to sing anymore.
Uh-oh.
And it was one of those, it was truly a great crowd.
Yeah.
We were, it was one of the best nights of the tour, and all of a sudden it was like, what do you mean we're done? Or it wasn't 2013, it was 2010, the second to last tour I did. We had been playing 2 sets a night everywhere we went, and that just someone woke up with their ass on their shoulders, and it was a miserable day for the band, and everyone wanted to kill him. It was just one of those, what are you going to do? So anyway, if you were at the Crows gig at the zoo, trust me, we were just as pissed off as you were. Anywho.
That's good to know. I mean, God, the Zoo series, I saw some fantastic shows there. Did not make it up the Black Crowes show, so.
This is what I heard. Okay, why are we playing a zoo? I'm like, what do you care?
Dude, it's
a great outdoor amphitheater with an awesome crowd.
Yes.
It was a good night. Who cares if it's in a zoo? It's like saying, why are we playing near a Target? Well, I don't know. Because they put the building near a Target. Why are we playing near a gas station?
That's some bad pot.
Who cares? I don't care I don't care what's outside the venue. The venue's great.
Who doesn't like animals?
I know.
Exactly.
What is it with Minnesotans throwing stuff? Here's Chris emailing. My first concert was the Cars at the Unidome. Oh, this is in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Sorry about that. The Motels open for the Cars. Someone threw a whiskey bottle at the lead singer for the Motels. They quit playing. The Cars came out and played for 45 minutes. Yeah, you start throwing whiskey bottles, show over.
Yeah, let me tell you something. You haven't lived until you're at a European festival and you're thinking to yourself, why do they keep throwing bottles of ginger ale at us? And someone goes, that's not ginger ale.
Oh.
Ew.
That's
Oh, seriously?
Oh, yeah.
I would.
Yeah, you go play at Castle Donington or any of those giant Monsters at Rock shows, and the kids who are down front for 12 hours, they're not leaving to go to the bathroom. They're bringing bottles in with them to fill to then throw at you if they don't like your band.
Urine grenades. That would. I'd be rumbling. I think I'd be rumbling. They'd be coming right back at you with a fastball.
The only thing good about it is, the typical European crowd. They don't grow up playing baseball or football. They don't have arms. And when you're on a huge stage, there's barricades, and me as the drummer, they could never reach me. You'd see the bottle coming, but it would always land a little short, and I'd be sitting there like, yeah, come on, throw it, because they weren't throwing it at me. Ain't no Patrick Mahomes over there in Germany, trust me.
It's the KQ Morning Show. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It is Thursday, June 22nd. Hey, is it normal? Should it burn when I pee, guys? Just seeing if you're paying attention. That's all. It depends.
Yeah, I don't know where to go from that.
Okay, no, I like that.
Need depends, I think is what you
That's probably exactly what that meant.
Yeah.
We've been discussing concert mishaps all morning, and we still have people who want to share experiences with us on the Maple Grove Lock and Safe Talk. Text line, Candace, who is on hold?
Jeff from Maple Grove.
Jeff, good morning.
Hey, guys. First, awesome job, entertaining show, incredible job y'all are doing, eh?
Thank you, Jeff. That means the world to us.
So back in 75, I was a brand new plebe West Point cadet and managed to arrange to go down to New York City to go see a concert. Mm-hmm. The concert, with the lead group for the concert, was New Riders of the Purple Sage.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Followed by REO Speedwagon.
Okay.
Now, the lead group is important to the story. So we get there, we get seated, concert hasn't started. Guy to my right nudges my shoulder and hands me a pipe that looks like it's carved out of granite, and there's this glowing substance in the end.
Yeah.
Now, as a West Point cadet, I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to partake.
Right, sure.
So I politely refused, said thank you very much, and the pipe went back the other direction. Well, it didn't make any difference because about 5-6 minutes later, there was this grayish-blue haze that kind of smelled like burning rope.
Right.
Pervading the entire theater. Crazily, the concert got better and better as the night went on.
That's how it works.
Found out all about secondhand smoke when we left the concert, went outside, and one of the group of cadets said, anybody know where there's a pizza place around?
Yeah.
Followed by a group of cadets doing a bunch of silly giggling.
Yeah.
So good thing we didn't have a urine test the next morning, otherwise we would have all peed hot.
Peed hot, yeah.
Hot secondhand smoked pee right there, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you did your part as a proud cadet. You said no, and then the rest is just up to chance. There's nothing you can do about it.
Did my job, but it didn't make any difference.
That's right. The best laid plans. Well, thanks for the call, and thank you very much for the kind words, Jeff.
Oh, my pleasure. Hey, keep it up.
See ya.
Good man.
That's a good man.
That reminds me, I saw a story. There's a video floating around out there. A bunch of firefighters had to burn a bunch of weed,
Yeah.
Confiscated weed that someone was growing in the field somewhere, right. And they're just all standing around laughing their asses off.
Exactly.
And, going through the fire truck for a Snickers bar. I love it.
Sure. Candace, do we have another caller?
Travis from Lakeville.
Travis, good morning.
Good morning, gents, and good morning, Candace. Steve, I think you're going to see from a mile away where this is going, but I'll tell you about my concert experience. Poison and Brittany Fox back in I think it was 89.
Okay.
And so I was 17 years old, and me and my buddy went to the concert. And before the concert, ran into somebody else from school who was with a big group. And one of the gals had a whole bunch of backstage passes. Some of them were pink, some of them were blue. And I'm like, can we have some? And he's like, yeah. So she gave us 2 of these backstage passes, and ours were pink. And so after the concert, we waited in line. Took forever to finally get back there, only to be stopped at the door where we can see the party happening on the other side.
Right.
And the guy goes, gentlemen, hold on. I don't think these passes are legit or something like that. And he radios to somebody else and takes a few minutes, and we're standing there kind of sweating it out. And he goes, gentlemen, do you know what these passes mean? And we're like, no. And he goes, these passes means you performed a sexual act on somebody in the crew to get the passes. And we're just, we had met a couple of girls at the concert. We were, that was, pretty stunning news for a couple of guys who think of themselves as red-blooded studs.
Sure.
Yeah, I hope you didn't kiss one of the girls. Just saying.
Wow.
No, yeah, right? Yeah, I hadn't even thought of that. Wow, I maybe dodged a bullet.
Oh, man, you're giving him retroactive stress now at the concept. He never even considered that. Well, Travis, up until that point, I mean, did you enjoy the concert at least?
At that time, yeah, I was
Sure.
big into the hair metal scene, so yeah, it was a fun concert.
All right.
But yeah, we wound up leaving and having to walk the long haul of shame.
Yeah,
that's the ultimate walk of shame right there. Travis, thanks for the call, man. We don't get a Brittany Fox reference every day around here.
No, I would have rather have been at the girls' school.
Yeah, right. I hear you. Thanks, man. We appreciate it.
Pink and blue.
Yeah, and by the way, he says, Steve, you'll see where this one's going. How the hell would I know where that's going?
Well, I mean,
that was not the Black Crowes way. No, we were just way too busy doing drugs. You know what I mean? I kid you not. Early days touring in the Crowes, it was like the gig would end. We'd have a few drinks. We'd have friends backstage. There was never backstage random parties to meet new people. If we were backstage, it was with people we already knew.
Right.
Either record company or friends from that town or whatever. And then we'd get on the bus and we would listen back to the gigs to try, oh, that was terrible. What did we do wrong? We really took it seriously. And we'd be around other rock bands and they'd be like, how many girls did you get last night? We're like, what? Are you guys really doing that? We're just too stoned and too focused on trying to be good. And I guess, nowadays you'd be like, what kind of dorks are you guys? But
well, I mean,
that just wasn't the scene.
That was the hair bands, though, right?
Yeah.
That's what they did. They gave out pink wristbands.
We were decidedly from a different school of thought, for better or worse. But, live and learn, I guess. If you go to the show and someone hands you a pink pass, apparently that means you're wading into waters you might want to think twice about.
Yeah, be careful. Once bitten, twice shy.
It's a gender reveal party.
Wow, the Great White reference. Great White, by the way. I saw Great White, and they did have that after show at a Great White concert, and it was just 50 girls in a room, and I was like, wow, really? Huh.
Yep.
I guess I'm looking at the girls going, they got just one song, right?
Yeah, right. That one that they didn't even write.
Yeah,
Rock Me wasn't bad, but you're right. As a DJ, you would end up at a lot of these, especially the hair bands. I was just kind of getting started my radio career, and you'd end up backstage at a lot of these parties, and then you realized, as the DJ, you were ushered out. No nerds allowed. Yeah, we were the first ones that got kicked out. I was really working hard on this beautiful woman and thought I was right about there until Steven Tyler came out and called me an a-hole and had me booted. And as I'm leaving, he's got his arm around her. I'm like, you son of a...
Wow.
Yeah, close, but no cigar.
Good to be Steven sometimes. Candace, is there another caller?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do Mike from New Prague.
Mike, good morning.
Hey, what's up, guys? Great show. Love it.
Thank you.
1988 or 89, I can't remember. Permanent Vacation tour for Aerosmith.
Okay.
General admission, so we got there early, got to the door, rushed in. We were third row center stage, sitting on the floor, no chairs. The bouncers up front or the security guys said, listen, when the music starts, you get your butt up. And Joan Jett opened for him, and when she came out and started, I got up, but my girlfriend didn't get up quick enough. She grabbed a hold of me, and I had to pull her out from underneath the people behind us as the entire floor rushed the stage.
Oh, boy.
Hey, but great concert.
Hey, saved a life.
Man.
Yeah, that was after I got up, on kind of the initial, hey, this is a cool concert, wore off. I was like, we almost died. No wonder they got rid of this general admission stuff with no chairs.
Yeah, no kidding. All right, well, we appreciate the call, and thank you for the kind words, sir. I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, man.
Yep, I mentioned earlier, I had a ticket. I had an offer to go see The Who, that fateful night in Cincinnati, where that was literally the end of GA housing for rock concerts when 14, I think, kids died. I missed 3 concerts in the late 70s. One, I had a ticket to see Queen. The ticket went unused. I was offered to go see The Who. I also got an offer to see Kiss in Evansville, Indiana. Another famous concert that I missed because one of the guys on Kiss's crew, one of their spotlight operators who's above the band in the truss, he fell out. And he landed on the stage. He was not killed, but he fell and fell 25 or 30 feet probably, and he hit right at Paul Stanley's feet. And the crew rushed out. They got him off the stage really quick. He was shaken up pretty badly. And the part that that just kills me is that Paul Stanley, when they removed him and they were like, oh my God, we got to keep the show going again. He said, looks like somebody had too much cold gin. And then they rocked into cold gin.
Nice.
Ever the consummate showman, the professional. Have we got one more, Candace, or no?
Yeah, Doc from Ramsey.
All right, Doc, what do you got for us, brother?
Hey, think about mid-70s, St. Paul Civic Center, and it was a Marshall Tucker concert. And I'm all the way up front with my 172-ounce 3-2 beer that's getting warm and stale.
Sure was.
And I'm about 3 people from the stage, and all of a sudden this girl in front of me passes out. So, of course, being the gentleman I am, I grab her and hold on to her, and I asked all the guys around me and the people, nobody knew who she was. And so I tried to turn around, and it was so packed in there, I wasn't going anywhere. So I spun her around in front of me, and I started going towards the back of the concert hall saying, this chick's got to puke now. And so it was like Moses part of the Red Sea. I got out to the back.
That'll do it.
I get down there, and I'm like, now what do I do with her? So I see this younger guy looking at me, and I just said, hey, come and hold my girlfriend for a second. And he did. And I just said, see you, sucker, and I walked off to go get a fresh beer. So I go to the bathroom, and as a bonus, a girl walks in, hikes her skirt up, and pees in the urinal right next to me.
Oh, yeah. Rock and roll, baby.
Magical night.
Yeah, it's amazing. What's one man's bonus is another man's nightmare. It just depends on where you're coming from in the world. Hey, that's awesome. Thank you for the call, brother.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Unfortunately, I was going to say we can go on all day, but we really can't go on all day. There are time limits on this, but I've enjoyed this. We always love what's the greatest concert you ever saw. Every now and again, you got to throw the wrench. You got to say what's the worst thing that ever happened to you at a gig.
Yeah. There's you want some fun reading today, head over to the KQRS Facebook page and check out the post. I think last I checked, we're over 300 worst concert stories on there. They're very relatable, and maybe you've been to a few of them.
The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.